Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Oliver Wiedmaier at Ollie _ all caps on Twitter, founder of Voyage Trading Group. Today we are going to do a deep dive together. This is something we're going to do every single weekend. This is a method I have implemented to help train my eyes so that I can have more confidence in trading, have more confidence in the setup, and also I get a finger on the pulse of the market, so I know exactly what's happening last week, last month, last 6 months, and I get to see okay, what sort of things are working, and then the idea is I want to be able to repeat them and participate in the momentum. So what I'm looking for is either a bottom bounce, which looks something like this. You have a downtrend, then you have a range expansion, and then you have a momentum burst up. Or I'm looking for a quick, short 2 to 7 day pullback, range expansion, breakout, and then the run. And so my criteria for this is 20% momentum burst, 2 to 7 day pullback, 2 tight days, and then the range expansion for the breakout. So if you would have traded this candle here, that would have met all of the criteria: 2 tight days, 2 to 7 day consolidation, and then your 20% first momentum leg. This would have worked as well. However, this breakout candle here is not as this consolidation is not the highest quality. I do like the narrowing of the range. You can see that these candles still have some wicks to them, and so it is a much higher quality when the ranges, which means that the whole high and the low becomes smaller and smaller. So this is A+ quality setup right here. It has the range expansion breakout, and then you see it follows through, and then it never violates the low of that breakout candle. And then if you would have traded the whole thing, you could have made 800%. And of course, that's not likely. You would have been shooken out here, or you probably would have made enough money here. And even this is a really nice candle to get out on, just because it's had this really nice run up. And so unlikely you would have caught the whole 800%. But the point of this tool is to train our eyes so that when we see this again, we know and we have the confidence to trade the breakout. Okay, we'll go to the next one. CTNT. This is a little bit different style here. You have this EP, and then you have the follow through. Does not fit the continuation breakout or the bottom breakout criteria. So I will scan with my eyes, see if there are any setups, and there are not. So it is important though to keep this in mind. If you would have bought the close, right, and you would put a stop at half the range, you could have made a return on that. So this would have been a, call it 30% stop, and so you would have doubled your risk on that. So you would have made 2R on that. So that is something that I do like to do, buying the close of this big candle here and then doing a range at stop loss at half the range. So it is good to see that that is working currently. WGS, same scenario here. So we have two different things we can train on. The first thing we'll do is we'll look at this quality breakout here. It has this big run up, consolidates 2 to 7 days, and then it has this range expansion breakout. Now, I know that a lot of people wouldn't consider this to be a breakout, because what they're expecting or what they want to see is a stock that closes higher than the consolidation. However, if you look at the close of these candles, this closes higher than the closes of the previous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it does close higher than the previous consolidation. So this is a valid breakout candle here, and then it would have traded higher, never violating the low. So if you wanted to trade this EP here, or the gap up rather, you could have bought the close and then had a stop at half the range, which would have been a 7% stop, and you could be still in the trade 40%. So again, so this is what I'm trying to do when I do this deep dive. I look at how can I replicate this in the future, and I look left, right? I look at the chart and I see what other setups fit the criteria. This would have worked here. You have this big expansion candle here that closes above all of this little consolidation here. So you have 1, 2, 3 tight closes. You have the 20% criteria momentum here, 2 to 7 day consolidation. So that would have been a valid entry for a breakout. That candle there. And then you could have made 32% if you bought the close. If you bought halfway through the range, closer to 40% gain. And then you just keep on looking. You see this sets up again here. Same as that concept. 2 super tight days. You have this big range expansion here. You have the 20% minimum leg 1 here. So again, so the idea here is to go through and really study what the chart looks like before the big breakout, right? And then what happened on the breakout day. So if you look at the 5-minute, quiet in the morning, and then it pulls back some, and then it really starts to get going, and then it pulls in. So if you would have traded up here, you would have stopped out because it starts to sell off, which is why I always encourage waiting till later in the day. A lot of the volatility goes away closer to the end of the day, and so you still get the same benefit because you are still buying the breakout. You're just buying a little bit higher in the price, but you can always adjust that because stop losses are dynamic. And instead of doing a low of the day, like my example here, you could do a half range sort of stop loss. So in that instance, you would have had a stop loss around here. And then we'll just keep going down the list. And this is something that I do every single weekend. And I like to see exactly what is happening so I can start to build more confidence in the setup. See what is working, see what's not working. We see here we have 2 tight days here. We have this 30% momentum leg here. So if we want to replicate this, if we see something like this in the future, we know, okay, this is working. It has a breakout candle, range expansion. Now, it doesn't have to have this big, ginormous 20 or 30% breakout candle that some people want to see. This is a qualified breakout. It's closing higher than the consolidation. Okay, 2 prior days, 2 days tight here. Okay, so this totally is an A+ setup, and it worked perfect. As you can see, the low that still has never been violated. You could still be in that trade, 100% move. Again, probably would have sold out on this candle, or at least taken most of the profit off. Trail the stop, boom, 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 and you could still be in this trade. Does anything fit our criteria? Let's see here. This would not fit our criteria. 2 big sell days. When you see pullbacks, you want the pullbacks. You don't want them to sell into the pullback. You want them to drift into the pullback. Does not. This is a breakout. Yes, it did work. Yes, it did have a consolidation, but this is just not quality. This is a much more quality breakout. You have the narrowing range. You have the momentum burst here. But this is a little bit too long, and it's a little choppy, but this could have worked. I would say, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tight closes. This range, though, is higher than this range, so this isn't a great setup here, but it would have worked. Okay, and then we just keep on moving, and we're gonna do this. There's 309 charts, or yeah, 309 names that popped up. We're not gonna go through all 300, but we will do a couple more. So again, so you have this big EP here. Buying the close on this would have not worked out clearly, but let's see what the range was on the close. The range was 56, so that would have not that would have violated an entry. You want it to close above 70%, so that would not have met the criteria. This breakout would have worked really nicely. You have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tight days. But again, this isn't great. There's like selling into the consolidation rather than drifting. So this is not a great setup here. There is no real great setups here. So nothing to note here. MTC. Okay. Not great here. You have this big, ugly bar here. This is too long of a consolidation. Yep, so not much here that fits my criteria. Root. So, yeah, so, I mean, obviously, if you would have bought the close on this here, the closing range was 71, so that would have met the criteria. And then, of course, you could have, you know, in theory, 500%, but realistically, no one is holding it for that long. This, not a great breakout. It would have been much better if it closed higher in the day. The closing range was 48%. You want it to close, again, top 30% of the candle, so 70% closing range, so that is not a valid breakout. This would have worked, but again, you have this selling pressure here, which is not what I'm looking for, so I would have passed on this breakout. Okay, keep going. I have gone over this before. This is a great breakout here. You have the momentum. It's slowly drifting into the moving averages. A couple tight closes. You have this big breakout here. A very nice setup here. This would have worked too, although this is a really long consolidation. I'm not a huge fan. If it's over 10 days, I'm not a big fan. But in on paper, this is fine. You have a closing range here, range expansion, right? You have a big range expansion, and then you have all the tight closes. Okay, we'll do a couple more. See what we come up with. This would have worked too. This is really nice. Right? You got the momentum. It starts to drift. You have a couple tight closes. It closes high in the candle. That would have been a good breakout. This is really nice here, right? You have 2 tight closes here. Then you have the big breakout. Okay, VXTX. Not much to see here. Yep, not much to see here. Yep, I don't see anything really. BMR. This is too long of a consolidation. This breakout would have not met my criteria. This would have been okay. This would have been fine for a bottom bounce type because you do have the downtrend, then you have the consolidation there, and then the breakout. So that would have worked for a few days. ALPN. This is good here. It is breakout after this kind of tightening here. Although not great, but this could have worked. You do have a little momentum here. So you have some momentum, pulls in. This exhaustion, this is signs of exhaustion selling. So that could have worked, although again, not perfect. I would say that could have worked, but not. Doesn't fit all of our criteria. This, on the other hand, fits our criteria very well. So you have two tight closes. You have the narrowing of the ranges. You have the momentum here, right? So you have the first leg. The second thing is the consolidation, and the third would be the breakout. But what we want to do is we want to train our eyes so it looks like this: 1, 2, 3. That's what we want to do. We want to train our eyes to look at, is today a breakout? Is today having a range expansion? Is it closing higher than the consolidation? Then 2, you look at the quality of the consolidation. Is it being sold into? Is it drifting into the moving averages? Or the range is narrowing, and do we have 2 tight closes? That's very important. 2 tight closes. And then thirdly, if it passes this, then you look at, is this momentum linear? Is there signs of accumulation? Is this choppy? What is the situation here? And if it looks clean like this, then that is valid for an entry on this day. Okay, we'll do one more, and then we will be done with this exercise. We look to see anything that fits our criteria. This isn't terrible, but not A+. But you do have some tightening right here. You have the drifting, but not A+. So we'll move on. One more. This is I'm looking for some momentum here, and then a pullback over here before I get interested into that. But again, I'm not going to just buy this here just because it's breaking out this downtrend here. That is not how I do things. What I'm looking for is the momentum and then the pullback. So I know a lot of people bought this candle here because they drew a line here, and apparently this magic line is a signal for them. That is great. Have fun with that. I am looking for something a little bit different. I want to see momentum, pullback, and then I will buy into the next momentum burst. So that's what I'm looking at. And that's how I do it. So I do this every single weekend. I go through all of the charts that have made a 50% move in 6 months, and I just go through and I look at where on the chart could I have made an entry, and how can I train my eyes so that when I see that I can replicate it. And so if this was helpful, I hope you can start to implement it. I hope you can start training your own eyes so that you can develop your own system. If you found it helpful, please give this a thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter, and if you want to join our free Discord, the link will be in the description. Thank you.